Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to Co-Creative Healing Journey. My name is Greta. I am a healer, and my love, this is Life Messages, where I bring through messages from Spirit around a specific theme that we're working on in the overall healing process that is unfolding here on the channel. And so, the theme that we're working on this week, after falling off of last week, is peace. And so, here I'm going to be bringing through some messages from Spirit, and then over on my Patreon I create some healing work where I'm drawing more cards. There's also energy work for you to do to really shift and heal, uplift yourself within this situation, and of course to work the process as Spirit is presenting it. Absolutely. For those of you who are in your process of soul growth, soul evolution, you're feeling the energies, you're feeling the times, and you have been praying for a healing process, then this is the one. This is a one that Spirit is bringing to you, and you can avail yourself of that over on my Patreon. So let's look at what we have. We've got change here. Change. There's a different energy here. Synergy. Okay. Change, synergy. We have got perception. Beautiful. Yeah. Just that felt amazing. We have decision. So we've got perception and decision. We have got blessings. Beautiful. Yeah. And we've got relaxation. I love this. This is the kind of messages that I love to give the most because they're just so wonderful and they're so very, very needed. And they are just wholly here to help you, here to support you. So we have here this energy of change. And the text says, the frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. Well, wonderful you, right? Because we have here this square. There's a square here. You can't really see it. It's a little bit purple. There you go. It's behind the circle. And so the square represents the foundation, reality as you know it, right? The things that we take as being fact, as being, fixed, that it is the way that things are. And then the circle is this spiritual being that exists beyond that. And so the change is unfolding because there's spiritual energy, just like the text was saying, that it is the nature as within, the nature of reality within is changing your reality outwardly. You've been doing some magnificent work. You've really been centering and aligning with the true being, and that work is starting to pay off. Essentially, it's going to be creating reverberations out in your life. So reverbing, it's going to come from the center and then like hoops, like ring when you throw a stone in the water, it just follows from the center, from the inner, from the spiritual into other dimensions, into other realms, into earthly manifestation. This process has been happening, and now you're at a point where it's like a breaking point. It's about to break through in your reality, and you're about to experience a lot of things. And it's coming through with synergy, which I absolutely love as an energy, because synergy is really something that takes place when we are aligned and we are co-creating. Co-creation is synergy. And so it says the frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. Again, the notion of giving birth. There's a new cycle that is being birthed in your life, and that new cycle, basically when it shows up, is synergy. It's things working in a different way. It's things happening in a different way. It's things having the same ingredients and coming out with a completely different outcome, a completely different flavor, a completely different smell, a completely different, almost like sensual experience. And that's what's in the cards for you. And Spirit is saying it's actually here for you. It's happening now. And what this reading wants to do, and the messages want to do, is to help you to perceive it, to help you attach your focus to it so that you can work it consciously. You are part of a co-creative union with spirit, and you are being called into greater ownership of your co-creative role within that union. And that's the perception that is here for you now. It's what can I do with this new energy, these new potentials, these new ways in which things are happening, can happen, will happen. What can I do within the framework? And I love how that symbol is reiterated here. We have the square of reality, the way that things are. So this is circumstances, this is situations in your life that are the way that they are. I live in this house. This house is on this street. It is in this country. I am related to these people. These are things that are fixed. However, there's going to be a lot of movement and a lot of leeway in how you experience those things and how you move within them, with them, through them, from them, and so on and so forth. Just a lot of creative energy unfurling in your life and bringing a tremendous amount of magic in the experience, in the sense that the synergy is going to feel like magic, because it's going to feel like something that you never experienced before, never expected, never thought could happen, and are just overjoyed with, of course. With the decision here, and the message being that the synergy in and of itself is also going to be something that brings you a tremendous amount of joy, right? Just the fact that it can happen in a different way, that it is happening in a different way, is going to feel magical. So with that, we have decision, and here you can see someone who's holding a scepter, and the scepter is actually really speaking to me, because my last name in our language means scepter. So it has to do with this actually is fixed, right? It's not my last name. It's been ours for generation and generation and generation. I inherited it. It's one of the fixed things that I've been born into. So there's a message here of mastery of the conditions that we have inherited, that we've been born into. Basically, Spirit is letting you know that the work that you've done has allowed you to grow and evolve to such a point that you can now take circumstances and conditions in your life as data, as basic data that you then work from. You're not fighting those circumstances anymore. You're not fighting this family pattern. You're not fighting being of this origin, and you're not fighting those patterns, like for example racism because you're of a certain origin, phobia because you have a certain religion, those kinds of things. You're not fighting them anymore. You have now the means to take ownership of everything. I'm really seeing it like you're mastering your DNA, you're mastering your skin color, you're mastering your gender, you're mastering your social class. It's all of those things that are often impediments in the world, challenges that bring challenges that can be a lightning rod for so much unnecessary trouble. Spirit is saying, right? All of these unnecessary things that drain us of our time, you're mastering those. And for some of you, this is also at a very intimate level, direct level, where it is patterns in the family of abuse, of brokenness, of toxicity, of certain mental patterns, certain mental habits, certain addictions, and things like that, that you also now are in a position to break. And that's kind of the decision that is before you, is the decision to start something new, the decision to take ownership of all of that and to move on. What it is for fundamental is, let's say you were raised by narcissists, right? And you were raised by them, you grew up in that household, and it's how you've learned to think. To some degree, without a certain amount of work, you will have narcissistic tendencies and thought patterns, because that's just how you've been taught to think. It would be, for example, it's normal to attack if someone is being a little bit critical of me. That would just be a thought pattern that you have. And so you've been going through work in order to learn, okay, that's not necessarily how I have to act or how I have to exist or how I have to grow. I can do it differently. And so now you're in a position where, on the one hand, you see those patterns, but you're not caught up in them. You're not like, having a trigger every time you hear the word narcissist or deal with narcissists. It's not personal to you anymore because you've done your work. And then at the same time, it's about moving forward and deciding from now on, I'm not going to act on this pattern. I'm not going to react in this way when someone's a little bit critical. I'm not going to display these narcissistic traits. And you work on it and you can move on. And you can do that because you're not a narcissist. You were raised by some. And so in the same way, it would be like if you grew up in a family where there's misogyny. You have internalized certain patterns, you move on. You don't have to live out those misogynistic patterns. You can aspire to certain things even though you're a woman, and so on and so forth. It's like you are in a space and a place right now where the past does not have to define you, to bog you down. It doesn't even have to necessarily influence where you're going. It's a factor, it's data, it's things that you use to make sense of where you're going and what you're going to be creating, but it does not have to define it. And that's a decision that you make over and over and over again. And sometimes it's easy to make, sometimes it's harder to make. And sometimes you do make it, and sometimes you're not going to make it. And in this moment, you're going to fall, but then you have to choose to get back up. It's an energy that's talking about making the decision over and over and over again to essentially do the right thing by yourself, to live with a tremendous amount of integrity based on who you are now, where you want to go now, what you're intended to live now, what your purpose is, and so on, to really choose to live at that higher level of reality. And when you do, and Spirit says every single time that you do, blessings will follow. And why? Well, because of synergy, but also because it's the alignment. When you choose to live in this way, you're moving in alignment with the greater energy of the universe, and the universe will reciprocate. This is Lord Ganesha, a divine being, pouring out blessings on the wind in all directions, coming at you, right? From every single direction, wanting to bless you, wanting to give to you, wanting to, at a very basic level, just be with you, be by your side, walk through life with you. Divine energy walking through life with us is what blessings are in every single moment. And it's about us being aligned with that and being able to live in that space, in that energy, in that flow, and with all of the synergy that will follow. This is not necessarily easy to do, especially in our day and age, but that's why we prepare, that's why we heal, that's why we do our work. And you have certainly been doing your work, and so blessings will be pouring out. I feel like I want to draw some more cards for that, about that. And in the meantime, yeah, we have relaxation. I was reading this and I was like, giving you the message, I'm like, it's very optimistic. Is there really no more work to do? And relaxation comes back to highlight that. You've done your work. You've done what you needed to do, how you needed to do it, when, where you needed to do it, and so on and so forth. And so there's nothing really that is being asked of you at this time. But relaxation is coming through on both sides. It's relaxation talking about how, because of the work that you've done and where you've been in life, you can relax to make these decisions. They're not going to be as hard for you to make as they were maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, however long you've been in this cycle of growth and evolution, of soul growth and evolution. It's going to be different for every person watching. But because you've done the work that you've done, you're going to have a much more relaxed time expressing that work, essentially. So that, for example, if someone challenges your boundaries, it's going to be a lot easier to say no and to stand up because you've done this work. And even if from the outside you might be looking in on the situation and going, oh, I don't want to do that because if I go in there, they're going to challenge my boundaries. I won't know what to say. Let me just avoid the entire situation. It's like, no. There is no need to. That's the relaxation. There's no need to, because you're a lot more prepared for what's coming than you know or realize. And Spirit is saying even than you could ever know or realize. Going back to the example of narcissistic traits, you might look at a certain person and you're like, oh no, I cannot hang out with this person. We can't be friends. We can't start dating because they're just going to trigger me and I'm not going to be able to take it because I'm trying to function a certain way. I'm not going to be able to take it. And actually, no, you've done a lot of work on yourself. And so you can engage with them in a completely different way, from a completely different perspective, in the light and the dark, right? So you can handle new things that are good and wonderful, but you can also handle things that are darker or more difficult. You can handle both better than you ever have known that you could. And so Spirit is calling on you to be relaxed. Similarly, That's relaxation with you. The other aspect of the relaxation here with the blessings is relaxation and trust that all the good things are going to come to you. They're going to come to you. They are already on their way. And again, what you need to do is to be in your alignment, do your co-creative role, do what you have to do. Dot your I's, cross your T's, do the work that is before you, right? So if there's something to do, do it. If there's something to not do, don't do it. If there's something to rest, there's decisions for you to make and actions for you to take. Absolutely. Your agency is pivotal. Spirit is not taking that away in the slightest. But at the same time, you are being guided to not stress or strain or push in order to bring through the outcomes. They are on their way, and you can be very relaxed in that. So you can also make certain choices about having the integrity, about proceeding in a specific way. You can be relaxed in making those choices because there will be the follow-up. Spirit will follow up on your choice. You have divine backing. Beautiful. Let's draw some tarot. Some good old tarot. Yeah. It's again the notion of within, without. And also the notion of the self and the universe. You can relax within. Do what you gotta do. And then relax without also, because Spirit is going to take it up and Spirit is going to run with it. We've got a Four of Wands with completion. Beautiful. Beautiful. We have got a Six of Wands with forgiveness upside down. Love it. Ooh, love it. With that beautiful sacred heart. And we have got Mary Magdalene, initiation, major arcana number 15, which would be the devil in the traditional tarot. We have got our King of Pentacles, the Crone of Resurrection, with the Seas energy, the Sea suit in this deck. And then finally, yay, we have got major arcana number 21, the World, with Gaia. And I don't know about you, but in a lot of readings, when we've been talking about these soul cycles and things like that, the World card has come up, and it's come up upside down. It's come out in limited energy, in incomplete form. But here we're starting with completion, and we have the World right side up. So the World talks about soul cycles, cycles of soul growth and evolution as we move through the major arcana from the Fool all the way to the World. And here we have it right side up. So there's a completion here. And it's even showing up as Gaia energy. So I do feel like there's a completion also in, again, what we're talking about on the outside. Because the energy is completed with the Four of Wands here, from energy is completed. And now it is coming into completed earthly form in a way that completes the soul cycle, so that the manifestation in the earthly realm is the completion of the soul cycle, and therefore it is going to be grand, it is going to be magnificent. It's major arcana energy, and it's also soul level energy. So it's something very rare to do, to be able to manifest soul aligned creations in this world. For me, that's master number 22 kind of energy. We do have master number 44. Okay, beautiful. But that kind of higher level of mastery of manifestation in the earthly realm is showing up in your reading based on the work that you've been doing in these cycles of soul growth and soul evolution. So be really super proud of that. Going back to this with the master number 44, master number 44 is mastery of systems. And the system here is life. The true meaning of life, and what I was talking about. Life is abundance. Life is flow. Life is perfection. Also, life is synergy. And life is also change, continual change. And so those higher levels of what life really is. Life is abundance. Life is goodness. Life is truth. Life is favor. We are all favored. All creations are favored. All of those aspects are present in the inherent being and inherent flow of life. And we need to align with it, right? And especially we need to not be misaligned with it. When we're misaligned, it's like we're turning down the natural flow, the systemic functioning of life. And so there is an energy here where you're changing and you're shifting shift and change. I was going to say that in one word, but you're shifting and you're changing in such a way that you're realigning with really the fundamental functioning of life, and it is just creating a huge synergistic flow of events and happenstance and experiences in your life that are going to be very, very beneficial to a degree. And beneficial seems like a small word, but that's what it is at its core. You're gaining, you're prospering, you're thriving, you're evolving, you're moving on, you're healing, you're overcoming, you're creating, recreating, redefining, and so on and so forth, right? However many words there could be, because life is unlimited and boundless. So, returning to our sheep, we have here an energy of completion. And I love this. We have there the circle again, and something that is expanding past the circle. So, again, the circle is this spiritual energy of life. And I feel like that arrow here, or not arrow, but the cross is representing your own energies and talking about how you yourself have really worked on yourself. You've grown, you've evolved, and you're in a position now where, yeah, you're in alignment with that greater circle of divine energy that is flowing, and there's a sense of completion, and it's coming through as Four of Wands, minor arcana energy, which for me is really everyday life and how we go about things. And I feel like it's talking about the small level work that you've been doing, which has prepared the way for the alignment with that bigger level work. This Six of Wands here with the fire suit, forgiveness, is talking about, because it was upside down, is talking about a release of energy and of past energy about the cycle and about what you've been through and where you've been at. And it's upside down because it's imminent, it's coming. In the completion of the energy, and it also in the shift and change in how things are going to happen, you're going to experience an energy where your victory, Six of Wands, you're becoming victorious, and in the process you're shifting out of any kind of difficult energies relating to that. So for example, this is actually also linked to initiation. This is the devil energy, which is sometimes linked to being vilified, and Mary Magdalene certainly speaks of that. It's the message that's coming through is talking about how people may have looked at you, society, again, people around you, also circumstances may not have been favorable to you being in this process of initiation, and that's where you've been initiated into greater union with life, and how to work with life, and how to co-create with life, and how to live from that higher level, which would be a soul-based conception of life, a soul-based and soul-led life. And so you've been doing this work. That's literally what you've been doing. But this is major arcana energy, so it's not immediately seen. And so in the meantime, you've had experiences that have put this kind of barbed wire around your heart that have been very painful, around your heart, meaning what is important to you, what has value for you, what you are focusing on and pursuing, your ambitions for yourself and your life, being very thwarted in that, very hurt. It's been painful because the outer reality didn't really match what you were doing on the inside. But as there is going to be this shift and change in energy, there's also going to be resurrection. And so with this King of Wands energy showing up, there's a healing here, and a healing that comes from greater wisdom, from greater awareness of who you are and what you've really been going through. In other words, it's like a reveal. You're going to have a reveal where you're going to see yourself, and you're going to see your path, and you're going to see your experience from a higher perspective, a higher vantage point, and it's really going to release a lot of energy, a lot of difficult energies that have been binding your heart, that have been very difficult because of how the journey was unfolding. It's not that the path is as difficult as you thought it was, it's more that the journey along the path was so unknown and misknown to you and to, again, people around you. It was such a mismatch for how we live as societies, as a group, on a larger level, for how we live and also how we used to live as individuals before we went on this journey. It's such a mismatch that it creates a lot of pain and it creates a lot of suffering. But all of that goes away once you have the realignment, once you are on the right flow with life, when you're moving in the direction of the path. It's not about, you're not fighting it, but it's more about, yeah, being, there's really no other word for it, but you're in alignment. And it's now time for you to move into greater co-creative union and a more conscious co-creative union with spirit. And so as you do that, there's a resolution that just pushes out a lot of very negative energies, and there's healing that unfolds. So if I were you and I was in the process, right, in the process, the healing process on Patreon, I would do the energy work a lot. I would do the energy work a lot. It's made for repetition. As much as you can, even once a day would be just perfect to really help your own process and your own body, your own energy system push out these energies. It is coming into completion. It is coming into wholeness. There's a whole new life that is being birthed for you, through you, with you, in co-creation with you also, into the earthly realm, into earthly form. You are birthing a soul-led life in earthly form, and that is as metaphysical as it gets, well, almost, but it's very, very metaphysical. Let me put it that, above the physical, above the dynamics of the material realm, right? And you're doing that. You have achieved that. That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's what's coming for you. And it's going to be grand. It's going to be absolutely mind blowing, really. It will certainly defy expectation, and it will be, yeah, let's reread that. That was such a good description. Full of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being, all from a soul led space and place. You're birthing a new soul led reality into being. Yay, yay, yay. Congratulations. So, my love, that was the reading here and now. I am going to be continuing this over on Patreon, where we're going to be doing the healing that is attached to these energies. So, if that speaks to you, you can check it out in the description box. Join us over there. There's 2 healings per week that go with these 2 messages. And really, all of the information is in the description box. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best, all of it. May you be blessed always and in all ways. And I will be seeing you around. Bye.